Hi, my name is George Coles, and I am an avid retro video game collector.
Do a barrel roll!
I have decided to document my journeys as I grow my collection. Please join me as I share with you my finds. Welcome to Retro Game Treasure Hunting. Hi everybody, as the opener said, my name is George Coles, and this is Retro Game Treasure Hunting, and this has been the premiere episode of this show. Now, if you've been with me for the last 6 years, we've done mostly wrestling, professional wrestling related content, reviews, top 10 stuff of that nature. I've decided to branch out the channel a little bit and do some of my other loves, and this is one of the things I'm really, it's a hobby for me. It's a really big hobby, actually. I like to collect retro games. Much like most of the people that are collecting retro games now, either our parents had us give away them, or we lost them in moves, or several determining factors had us lose our collections of what we had when we were children, teenagers, and even young adults, and some of us as full-grown adults. I'm going back and I'm collecting some of the games that I really liked, also getting some of the games that I never got the first time around, and every now and again, as you're going to see on this episode, I find something that I didn't even know existed, so I give it a try. With all that being said, we're going to talk about our first two finds, both of them for the GameCube. The first game is a THQ game called Teen Titans, based off of the Teen Titans show. And the second one, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And actually, I'm going to reverse that and I'm going to talk about Crystal Chronicles first, and then I'm going to talk about Teen Titans. Now, Crystal Chronicles is a game that I was very familiar with, that I loved. It's one of my favorite in all of the Final Fantasy series. A little bit of backstory on it. It is the first Final Fantasy game to come out on a Nintendo system since Final Fantasy VI about 10 years prior. Now, why that's important, the reason that they were able to bring it back to the system is the Final Fantasy movie Spirits Within did not do so well, did not do as well as they expected. So, even though they had to deal with Sony and Sony was part owner, they needed to create a new revenue stream, so they went back and they worked with Nintendo again, thus giving us this fantastic game and other fantastic Final Fantasy games. I'm going to talk about this one specifically and the stuff that I really enjoyed of it. It diversifies from the standard Final Fantasy series, and this is more of an action RPG, not so much of a traditional RPG. There's a lot of good points to it, a lot of differences. The fighting system is more of a hack and slash system than a dedicated RPG style turn-based system, which I enjoy, and it was a nice change of pace on this. A lot of the puzzles I really enjoy in this game that they added to that as well. The way you leveled up is kind of cool. It's not like a level tree, but you gain crystals and you can attach attachments to people with what you find. There's a lot of the gameplay value. It's fun to play as one player, but it's made to play anywhere from 1 to 4 players, either all 4 on GameCube controllers, or you could use at the time Game Boy Advance to connect all 4 of you guys, which added some differences to the gameplay. Now, the thing that I think really made this game stand out more than anything else to me was the music. Out of all the games I've played in my entire life, the music for this game, I have to rank it with one of the top 4 or 5 games that I've ever played. The music to me is absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. It added so much to the gameplay that made the experience so much more robust It was something that you wanted to go back into. It was something that kept you playing on those long grinding hours. And just to have that, just to have even that soundtrack, it's such great music and such a great soundtrack to this game. Like I said, it's probably one of my 4 or 5 favorite soundtracks of any game that's ever been put out. To me, it really added to the game. With all that being said, my quick review of it, I'm going to grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Graphic-wise, I'm going to give it a 4. Gameplay-wise, I give it a 5. Difficulty, I'm going to give it a 3. A replay value, I give it a 5. Music, you just heard me rave about it, so I'm going to give it a 5. Overall, I give the game a 5 out of 5. It's one of the games I would highly recommend if you're looking for GameCube games, if you're looking for Final Fantasy games. I think it's one of the better in both. It's one of the best GameCube games and also one of the best in the Final Fantasy series. They are coming out with a remastered edition, I believe by the end of this year or early next year, for both the PlayStation 4 and Switch. So if you're not interested in getting the GameCube version, or you don't have a GameCube, you can hold off and wait till those to come out and play that version. But I would recommend playing it the original way, the way it was meant to be played on the GameCube. Just a great experience. I love this game a lot. I thought it was a really good game and a great game to start my show. Now my other one. I mentioned when I was talking about this that there are some games that I'm going to find that I did not know existed, and this is one of those. I'm a Teen Titans fan from the comic book and the TV show. I did not know that they made a Teen Titans game for GameCube. It's kind of surprised me a bit. When I seen it, I had to ask the gentleman that was working at the store, the owner of the store that I seen it in, about the game, if it was any good, would he recommend it. And he gave a decent recommendation, said it was a fun game, so I took a shot with it. It wasn't that expensive, so I was able to do that. I felt, if nothing else, being a comic book fan, it's something that I could collect in my comic collection. That being said, I did find out afterwards it was put out as a value title, meaning that it was cheaper than your standard game, and it was also geared for kids 12 and under. So we had a little bit of setbacks going into it. To me, I played a little bit of it. I haven't played it all the way through. The gameplay to me is a lot like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. If you remember that game, which was a lot more popular than this, obviously a lot of people I know had that game. So it's similar to that, and it's an action style game. The drawbacks to it, in my opinion, is it becomes repetitive really quickly, and there's way too many cutscenes. A lot of times we're getting cutscenes for minor happenings, like new enemies are coming on the scene, and not bosses, but low-level grunts even, you're getting a cutscene for. Which to me takes away from it, kind of pulls me out of the game. But I have to look at it at what it was meant to be. It's meant to be a game for children. It's meant to be a cheap game that you can put in a Christmas stocking or a birthday present for your kids at the time that we're watching the Teen Titans show. With all that being said, it was enjoyable. There are parts of it that I enjoy. I'm going to play it all the way through, so it didn't get to the point where I don't want to take it out and resell it. I'm going to keep it in my collection because I did like it. I thought there is a lot of fun to it. The two things I had the biggest problems with is the repetitiveness and the cutscenes. Way too many cutscenes, coming on way too much. That being said, this is my review on this game. Graphic-wise, I give it a 4. It looks a lot like the graphics of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I keep referencing that because I know a lot of people know that. They do have a cartoony look to them that looks on par with what the cartoon was at the time. The gameplay value, I'm going to give it a 3 so far. Like I said, I haven't played it all the way through, but I played enough to know what the gameplay mechanics are. It's fun. Difficulty, I give it a 1. Like I said, it's meant for children. So, for me, someone that's been playing video games for the better part of 35 years, it's not that difficult of a game. Replay value, I'm going to give it a 2. I can't see myself going back like I would with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles and playing this all the time. I could see myself maybe 4 or 5 years down the road picking it up again just to play it again, but ultimately I don't see it as something I play over and over again like I would with Crystal Chronicles or other games. Music-wise, I give it a 3. The music wasn't great, it wasn't horrible, it was just there. It served its purpose, it gives you the vibe of the game. It fits very well with the overall theme, the Teen Titans theme, which brings us into our overall score. Overall, I'm going to give the game a 3 out of 5. Now, I'm going to give it 2 overall scores, actually. If you're a Teen Titans fan, if you like the comic book, or you have a kid that likes the cartoons, it's not going to be Teen Titans Go. So if you have a younger child that's all they've seen, there might be some adjustability to that. It's based on the early 2000s cartoon. If you're a fan of Teen Titans in any way, the game's a 3. It's not great, it's not horrible, it's fun. If you could pick it up cheaply, I do recommend that. If you're not a fan of Teen Titans, I would give it a 2 out of 5. If you didn't have this franchise on this game, if the Teen Titans weren't on here, or you weren't familiar with Teen Titans, I think it would take away from the game and take away from the enjoyability. To me, a lot of the enjoyability is who you're playing with. You're playing with Robin, Raven, Cyborg, Beast Boy, and Starfire. I mean, characters I know and I grew up with and loved through the comic books and through their different iterations. So to me, that added fun to it, which made it a little bit better than just an average game. But overall, I give it a 3. With all that being said, basically this is what I'm going to do with these shows. I'm going to show you the games I picked up, give you a little bit of a story behind them. If they have some kind of connection with me, I'm going to tell you what that connection is. Tell you what I recommend, how I would rate them even now. So hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you stick around and watch some of these. Maybe I'll get some new viewers. Maybe it's just you guys that are already subscribed, which I don't mind. I want to give you some extra different content, give you different sides of me. I want to say before I get off on this, a big thank you to the YouTube channel Long Play Archive, which we're going to put down here in the description of the show. All of the gameplay video that you're seeing on this show, on this video, came from Long Play Archive. I don't have a capture card as of yet, and it's someone I've been watching some of his things and games that I like or games that I remember, and going back and seeing, is this something I would want to buy? And he has a lot of really great videos that he plays for a good length of time, so you could get an idea of whether you would like the game or not. I highly recommend subscribing to him, and I'm going to put the link down here and also one of those little circle things you could click on to go to his channel. Definitely go check them out. Check out their videos. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. If you like what I'm doing, you're probably going to like what they're doing over there. So thank you again. Thank you very much. I reached out to him, asked if it would be okay if I used some of his video, and they said it was perfectly fine to do so. And I said as part of it, I would give him credit, so there's my credit, and also 1,000 thanks for helping out. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been an episode of Retro Game Treasure Hunting.